Good evening. Tonight I call this special meeting of the Board of Education, the organizational meeting, to order. Before we begin, we'd like to do two ceremonial swearing in of acceptance of office and oath of office, so in alphabetical order. The acceptance of office has been completed and filed by Board Member-elect Candace Cunningham on December 1st, 2022. At the district's administrative offices by Notary Public Sarah Ogden on behalf of the Board of Education Secretary within the required 10 days after the district received notification of the certification of election results. This sort of certification has been sent to Anthony Ferlini, Macomb County Clerk. On that same day, Mrs. Cunningham also took the constitutional oath of office, administered also by Sarah Ogden, our Notary Public, on behalf of the Board of Education Secretary. This has also been forwarded to the Macomb County Clerk, Anthony Ferlini. For tonight, for some ceremonial purposes, I will be administering the constitutional oath of office to Mrs. Cunningham, for the listening audience and viewing audience to witness her commitment to faithfully discharge the duty as a Board of Education member. So Mrs. Cunningham, if you join me up to the podium. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of this state. And that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office. A member of the Board of Education of Richmond Community Schools. Macomb and St. Clair Counties, Michigan.
Macomb and St. Clair Counties, Michigan.
According to the best of my ability. Mrs. Sutton, if you join me up here. The acceptance of the office has also been completed by Board Member-elect Danielle Sutton, also on December 1st, 2022, at the district's administrative offices in front of Notary Public Sarah Ogden on behalf of the Board Secretary. This was also sent to the Macomb County Clerk's office, Anthony Ferlini, for certification. On the same day, Mrs. Sutton also took the constitutional oath of office, administered in the board office, and this also has also been sent to Macomb County Clerk, Anthony Ferlini. So again, tonight, for ceremonial purposes, I will administer the constitutional oath of office to Mrs. Sutton. Raise your right hand and repeat after me, please. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
And the Constitution of this state.
And the Constitution of this state.
And that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office.
And that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office.
Of member of Board of Education of Richmond Community Schools.
Of member of the Board of Education of Richmond Community Schools.
Macomb and St. Clair Counties, Michigan.
Macomb and St. Clair Counties, Michigan.
According to the best of my ability.
According to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Both board members have elected to a term beginning January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2028. This time, I'd ask everybody to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our mission statement: at Richmond Community Schools, we provide a quality education and empower students to become successful in a global community. I'll take a roll call vote at this moment. Board Member Cunningham?
Here.
Board Member Fortuna?
Here.
Board Member Michon?
Here.
Board Member O'Donnell?
Here.
Board Member Pacito?
Here.
Board Member Sutton?
Here.
Board Member Telfo?
Here.
We have 7 board members present. We have a quorum of the board. At this time, I will take nominations for the position of President of the Board of Education. Nominations will be voted on in the order received. Are there any nominations for the position of President?
I'd like to nominate Deb Michon for president.
Support? You don't-
Maybe we don't need support.
You don't support it.
Okay, wow.
Are there any other nominations for board president? Hearing no other nominations?
Mr. Walmsley, don't you need to ask the person?
You're right. Thank you.
Oh, I didn't?
He did.
Oh, I didn't hear him say it. I just want to
He
make
did.
sure
I'll
we're
say
doing
it
it.
out loud.
Okay.
I did.
Okay.
Do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Any other nominations? With one person accept? Okay. We have a motion before us to nominate Deb Michon as president of the Board of Education for a term January 1st through December 31st. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 7 no. At this time, I will turn the meeting over to President Michon.
Thank you. At this time, we need to make a nomination for the Vice President of the Board of Education. Are there any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Angela Pacito for vice president.
Angela, do you accept?
Yes.
Are there any other nominations for the Vice President position?
I'd like to nominate Candace Cunningham.
Okay. Okay, so we will start from...
You have to ask her if she...
Thank you. Candace? Would you accept?
I am honored, Danielle, for that nomination. I, however, don't think that I quite know enough for that just yet. But I do thank you for your faith in me. I just feel like that position, I'm just not there yet. But thank you.
Are there any other nominations for Vice President? Okay, so at this time, all those in favor of Angela Pacito as Vice President of the Board of Education for the term January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'm looking for a nomination for the position of Secretary of the Board of Education.
I'd like to nominate Margaret Telto.
Margaret, do you accept?
No. And I say no because I'd like to nominate Sandy Fortuna to be the secretary. So that's why I'm saying no.
Okay. Are there any other nominations? So you're going to say Sandy now?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
that's why, when I said no, because I want to nominate Sandy.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Sandy,
Yep.
do you accept?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for secretary? All those in favor of Sandy Fortuna as Secretary of the Board of Education for the term January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'm looking for a nomination for the position of Treasurer of the Board of Education.
I would nominate Margaret Telto then to be the treasurer.
Margaret, do you accept?
Sure.
Do I have any other nominations for Treasurer?
I'll nominate Danielle. I'm sure, wasn't Danielle treasurer? Yeah, I'll nominate Danielle. If she wants it.
Okay. All those in favor of Margaret Telto as Treasurer of the Board of Education for the term January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, motion does carry, if I'm not mistaken, because I had 5 all in favor and 2 opposed. Okay, I'm looking for a motion for the approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
You?
Angela.
Thank you. All those, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. This time we have public comment. Anyone from the audience may address the board. You will have 3 minutes. We will have another public comment section during our regular scheduled meeting. Does anybody wish to address the board at this time? Okay, no public comments. Okay, I'm looking for a motion for the approval of depositories for school funds.
I move to approve PNC Bank, First State Bank, Fifth Third, and Michigan Liquid Asset Fund as depositories for school funds.
Do I have support?
Support. Sandy?
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm looking for approval of a board members authorized to sign checks.
I move to approve the Board President, Deborah Michon, and Board Treasurer, Margaret Telto, as Board of Education members authorized to sign checks.
Do I have support?
Support.
Thank you. All those in favor, or any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'm looking for the approval of board designee to sign contracts, agreements, and purchase orders.
I move to approve the Board of Education's designee to sign contracts or agreements to be the superintendent or his designee, and purchase orders to be the superintendent or director of business and management operations.
Do I have support?
Support.
Yes.
Sorry.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'm looking for a motion for the approval of day, place, and time for our regularly scheduled meetings.
I move to establish the second and fourth Monday of each month at 7 p.m. in the Media Center of Richmond High School, or virtually as allowed by law, as the regular meetings of the Board of Education of Richmond Community Schools, unless otherwise indicated on the attached documentation.
Do I have support?
Support. Sandy?
Thank you. Any discussion?
Other than the only other time that we have a meeting different than here is a meeting in August we always do at the Lee School because of Meet the Teacher Night, Blue Devil Night, what have you. So that's,
That's on the-
yeah, that's that
on the
date right there.
schedule, yep.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'm looking for a motion for the approval of designation of location for posting public notices and meetings.
I move to approve the designation of location for posting public meeting notices to be on the main page of the district's website, outside the main entrance of Will Ellie Elementary School, outside the main entrance of Richmond Middle School, outside the main entrance of Richmond High School, and outside the main entrance of the Board of Education and Administrative Offices.
Do I have support?
Support.
Go ahead, Kelly.
Okay. Any discussion?
Just
All those,
wondering-
oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Just wondering if we could also post them on the district's Facebook page?
Mr. Walmsley? Yeah,
There isn't any reason we can't.
Yeah.
Do you want?
You can obviously do more, like when the marquees are being installed, they should be arriving in the next couple of weeks. We will put on the marquee, but this is the minimum. But if you want Facebook, then I can on Facebook it.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of people use that.
Then I'll amend my motion to include the district's Facebook page as a posted site.
Okay, any further discussion?
You have to ask Sandy if she approves, if she supports
Any
that.
Yes. Yep.
You're good?
Yep.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'm looking for the approval of fee charges to individuals who request notice of board meetings.
I move to approve a fee charge to individuals who request notice of board meetings in the amount of 1/10 the hourly rate of the Director of Human Resources plus postage.
Do I have support? Support. Angela? Any discussion?
I'll just make a statement, we've never charged this, nobody has ever asked for this
Right.
in the 9 years I've been here, so it's just something we have to at least put out there if someone does ask for it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'm looking for the approval of administrator to assume responsibilities of the secretary and treasurer.
I move to approve the superintendent or his designee to assume responsibilities of the secretary and treasurer of the board, such as but not limited to recording clerk at meetings, elections officer, the notification to city and township representatives regarding tax collection, financial drawdowns, and account reconciliation in an effort to maintain the operations and efficiencies of the district.
Do I have support?
Support, Sandy.
Thank you. Any discussion?
I actually had a question on line C. Be the chief executive officer of the district with authority to delegate election duties to a member of the administrative staff. Can you just kind of give me an example of what that might be?
That might be me asking Jamie Thiel to send, because every year the clerks ask for, I shouldn't say every election year they ask who's up, when the terms are up, we have to verify it. It might be me asking Jamie to send it on my behalf, confirmation.
Okay.
That would be a quick example off the top of my head. Or on the flip side, the certifications, when you guys came into the office and did the oath of office, I might have asked Sarah or Jamie or Tammy or anybody to send it on my behalf. And try to get it in there as quickly as possible.
Anything else, Candace?
No.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'm looking for a motion for the approval of administrator for electronic transfer officer.
Move to approve Tony Shad, Director of Business Management Services, or her designee, and Brian Walmsley, Superintendent, or his designee, as the approved administrators for electronic transfer office.
Do I have support?
Support.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'm looking for the approval of financial auditors.
I motion to approve, do I say the letters, or is it the?
It's yo and yo.
Okay, Yo and Yo, CPAs and business consultants as the district's financial auditors.
Support.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
I just want, I'm sorry.
I go too fast.
Just wanted to say that this is the same company that has been the auditors in the past, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I'm sorry, that's it.
Okay, okay. You're all set?
Yep.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'm looking for a motion for the approval of district attorneys.
I motion to approve the following firms as legal counsel for the Richmond Community Schools: Collins and Blaha, PC, O'Reilly, Rancilio, PC, Seacrest, Wordle, and Truen Law Firm.
Do I have support?
Support.
Any discussion?
I actually was wondering, are these all the same as last year?
Yes.
And nothing is any different?
No, they're the same attorney.
All the same? Okay.
Any other discussion from the board? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'm looking for the approval of Board of Education designees to legislative committees. Are there any nominations to represent Richmond Community Schools in the Michigan Association of School Boards, MASB Legislative Relations Network?
I nominate Kelly O'Donnell.
We have one nomination for Kelly. Do you accept?
I thought I was going for the other one.
Well, are they separate or are they the same? Are they all combined and bundled into one? You can have multiple for...
There's one for the
or-
state, there's one for the county.
Right.
And then there's an alternate for each one. So if you go for the state, somebody else would have to be your backup in case you couldn't make it.
But they're both bundled under the MASB.
No, one's MASB and one is Macomb County School Board.
Yeah, that's the second one on here.
So the state doesn't do an alternate anymore, they just
Oh,
ask for
okay.
one representative.
Okay.
So there's one that would be for the state, and then the
one
county.
For the county.
The county is usually the second Tuesday of the month, I believe is the meeting for the legislative data. There's more commitments for this county level than at the state level. The state you would go to is if you were, there is a proposal or amendment that they're putting forward, and they're looking for feedback on their direction, what they want to lobby legislators for, they would be asking the legislative liaisons.
Okay, so let's start with, I'm looking for a nomination for the state representing Richmond Community Schools on the Michigan Association of School Boards. Do I have any nominations?
And just remember what she's saying. The reality is, the first one, it's very limited, if anything. The county one, if you're interested in doing something like that, you do more at the county level.
Okay.
You'll hear things statewide at the county level stuff, but if you're looking,
I'm going to nominate Candace for the MASB Legislative Relations Network.
Candace, do you accept?
I accept.
Okay, do I have any other nominations? Okay, I need a motion to have Candace Cunningham represent the board.
I motion to approve Candace Cunningham to represent the Richmond Community Schools on the Michigan Association of School Boards Legislative Relations Network.
support.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now I am looking for a nomination to represent Richmond Community Schools on the Macomb County School Boards Association Legislative Committee.
That's what you want to do.
That's what,
Then I'll nominate Kelly.
So I have a nomination for Kelly. Kelly, do you accept?
I do.
Okay, do I have any other additional nominations? Okay, I'm looking for a motion for Kelly
I move to approve Kelly O'Donnell to represent Richmond Community Schools on Macomb County School Board Association's Legislative Committee.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Candace, thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'm now looking for a motion for the approval of dates for superintendent evaluation.
Nope. You have the alternate.
I'm sorry, I
You still-
thought you
you
said
still
there
have-
wasn't an alternate.
For the county.
For the county, there is.
Oh, there is one for the... Okay, are there any nominations to represent Richmond Community Schools as an alternate on the Macomb County School Boards Association?
I'll nominate Candace.
Candace, do you approve?
Yes.
Do I have any other nominations? Okay, if someone could please give me a motion.
I move to approve Candace Cunningham to represent Richmond Community Schools as an alternate on the Macomb County School Boards Association Legislative Committee.
Do I have support?
Support.
I'll put Angela.
It was Sandy, by the way.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, last one. Looking for a motion for the approval of dates for superintendent evaluation and periodic evaluation review.
I move to establish the following dates for superintendent evaluation and periodic evaluation review. March 20th, 2023, first quarterly review of superintendent. June 19th, 2023, second quarterly review of the superintendent. October 9th, 2023, third quarterly review of the superintendent, and November 6th, 2023, final evaluation of the superintendent.
Do I have support?
Support.
Angela? Any discussion?
I just wanted to point out that this is indeed different than last year, correct?
Yes.
Yep, I haven't done it in about 3 years.
No, instead of one time a year, we're doing it 4 times.
We won't do the complete evaluation until November, but we'll have a review of it. Okay?
Thanks.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Our organizational meeting will adjourn at 6:54. Good evening. The regular meeting of the Richmond Board of Education will come to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. believe our new secretary is Sandy.
Yep.
If you could please read our mission statement.
Sure. At Richmond Community Schools, we provide a quality education that empowers students to be successful in the global community.
Thank you. Could you do our roll call, please?
Sure. Candace?
Present.
Myself, present. Deborah?
Here.
Kelly?
Here.
Angela?
Here.
Danielle?
Here.
And Margaret?
Here.
So, we have a quorum.
Thank you. I'm looking for a motion at this time for the approval of our agenda.
So moved.
Do I have support?
Support.
Candace. Candace, thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'm looking for an approval of the consent agenda.
I motion to approve the consent agenda as presented in the attached documentation.
Do I have support?
Support.
Thank you. Mr. Walmsley?
Since our last board meeting, I'd like to acknowledge the resignations and retirements of those who worked here. Kyle Bartell is a middle school teacher. There's a correction on the title position for Mr. Hooks, social studies teacher. Mr. Nash, middle school math teacher. We have a lunchroom supervisor, Karen Piters. Matthew Ray, interim bowling coach. Jolie Waschinski, middle school social worker. And Michael Woodberg, middle school dean of students. Vincent, our new hires, Melanie Campbell, COVID-19 aid, Corrine Christensen, CT teacher at the high school, Michael Fowler, PM custodian, Trish Holdwick, interim bowling coach, Tammy Kramer, high school special education teacher, Laura Pyback, middle school special education teacher, as well as 7th grade boys basketball coach, Barbara Platt, special education paraprofessional, Robert Taylor, 8th grade boys basketball coach. Appointments that will take effect, and there's a correction on the date, that will take effect second semester. Brett Berg will move to the middle school social studies position, and Brandon Day will move to the position of middle school PE teacher with 1 hour at the high school. There were no errors brought to my attention regarding the December 12, 2022 regular board meeting minutes, and I received no questions regarding the claims and accounts for December.
Any discussion from the board?
I just want to point out the resignation letters you have in your packet that I set in front of you. Mr. Woodberg's, it was not part of the original upload, so I made a copy of it for you for your packet.
Thank you. Any discussion from the board? Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, at this time, Mr. Walmsley, a bond update.
There is no bond update.
Thank you. Okay, at this point, we have public comments. At this time, this is where any member of the community may address the board. We ask that you come up. Yes. Oh, let me finish and then you can come up. Okay. We ask that you come up and please state your name. On the podium is a sign-in. If you could please sign in, and you will have 3 minutes. Is there any comments from the public?
Good evening. My name is Cheryl Jar. I'm a teacher at Richmond Middle School and president of the Richmond Education Association. After hearing many rumors that the shutdown last week was due to teacher shortages with the personal threat as a cover-up, I was appalled. So I would like to address the staffing issues we are having this year. I'm not referring to any of the staff who have left in prior years. That has been addressed previously. I'm talking about the unusual situation of teachers leaving our district after the beginning of the school year. In my 31 years of teaching, it was unheard of for a teacher to leave during a school year. It just wasn't done unless there was an extreme circumstance. These past couple of years have been very different and challenging in all of our lives. School districts, first, the staff leaving this year after the school, this situation is not the fault of our school board or district leadership. School districts around the state are facing this problem. Events in recent years, along with legislation that your state legislators have passed, have caused teachers to a mass exodus from the teaching profession, and it's causing teachers to move between districts during the school year because they make decisions based on their personal situations. And while our salary in Richmond is not up to par with other districts, we have made progress in recent years, and I look forward to working with the administration and the board to continue making improvements. We have dedicated, talented staff, exceptional facilities, high-quality programs, and a small-town community that supports its schools. All these things should encourage both teachers and families to come to Richmond. But the biggest hindrance that I see right now in attracting teachers to our school is social media. There is a plethora of comments and complaints and outright false information, yet I don't see any constructive solutions being offered. In addition, for all the outcry of people wanting change in our schools, in our recent school board election, we had our candidates, who I thank you for your service, running unopposed and needing write-in candidates. If you want change, you need to step up to the plate. I agree we have issues that need to be addressed. I know there are a lot of people unhappy with decisions that have been made. Every school district in the country has that problem. Every business in the country has that problem. The grass is not always greener in another place. Mr. Walmsley and our school board members can certainly attest that I do not agree with every decision they make. I have stood at this podium for that very reason. However, bashing our district on social media is not the way to solve our problems, and it only creates a terrible false picture of Richmond Community Schools. Why would any potential employee or family want to come here when they see the comments being thrown around out there? And many of the comments are not even true. I was surprised. Earlier this year, I returned to work after an illness and was informed on Facebook that morning that I was retiring for health reasons. I'm not going anywhere. You're stuck with me. And the false information in the past week is even more disturbing. The safety of our students and our staff is paramount. We, in the public, are not privy to the information that the police and the administration have. They made the decision to close the schools. They made that based on information they had for safety.
Sure. I'm sorry, your 3 minutes are up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I just need your name, please. Just your name, just say it.
Jessica Schlager.
Thank you.
They made those decisions based on the information they had, and there's very good reason why they don't put all the information they have out to the public. I teach that to my students in social studies. We want truth from government, but there are times that in the common good, we need to not know every little detail. When it's time, we know. I would like to know when it's appropriate. So my heart is here, and what I'm asking is for everybody, staff, administration, parents, former staff, stop feeding the social media frenzy, work together as mature adults to come up with solutions to make Richmond the greatest place to educate our kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other wish to address the board?
Good evening. My name is Carolyn Gallo. Like most parents, I have big concerns about the teacher exodus. My daughter hasn't had a regular teacher in her honors biology class since the second week of school. She didn't have an assigned geometry teacher, again, an honors class, until the first week of school. This girl is trying to prepare for college. We've got hundreds of students in the same situation across all 3 schools. Teachers leaving in the middle of the school year. This begs the question, and this is not hypothetical, because I want answers, and I think the other parents do as well. Why is it happening? How do we make it stop? What is the district administration doing specifically to attract and retain high-quality educators at Richmond Community Schools? What specific steps have you taken or will take? What is the plan? If there isn't a plan, we need to know, and we need to know why. Because our children's futures are at stake here. If there is no plan, then we as parents have to make some hard choices, which may include pulling our kids out of the district. These shortages aren't anything new, but it seems like we've entered a crisis-level situation. If this is nationwide, statewide, or countywide, have we been pooling our resources with the other districts experiencing the same issues? We don't have time to drag our feet with this. We owe this to our students to figure it out now. I'd like to be part of the solution. I'd like to know how I personally can help. I have a 10th grade vested interest in this. We need leadership, effective leadership, people with ideas and not excuses. That's why we elected you. We can't do this alone, though. We can't keep slinging insults and accusations back and forth. Let's figure this out together and fix this. Our kids deserve better, and they are watching.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address the board?
Good evening. My name is John Pepper. I have 2 children who attend the district. Certainly been a trying week. It's been difficult watching everything going on between the threats that have occurred, the teachers leaving, and trying to figure out what my wife and I need to do to take care of our 2 children and make sure that they have care when the unfortunate situation arises where we have to close the school. The information sharing from my end seemed to have been lackluster. After the first day, the notification that the school was closed last Tuesday, I received the text messages, I received the email notification, and then after that, I got nothing. My wife was still getting the emails, so I was constantly referring back to the school website and how the information was displayed on the school website. I'd like to request the board take a good hard look at how we handle communications here in the district. It's kind of disheartening when you go to the school website and you're trying to find these bulletins that people are saying are up there, the messages from Mr. Walmsley, and you have to scroll down to it ended up being highlighted later on, but a click here with a date, when this kind of information that parents are looking for, especially in these quasi-crisis situations, should be the first thing that we see when we go to that page. Additionally, I'd like the school to look at how we handle notifications. Going out to the parents. If school messenger is the way we continue to go, so be it. But I know there have been other parents who have expressed concerns on the social media cesspool about not getting their notifications as well. So it's something I'd like to request be readdressed. And then finally, the Richmond Community Schools Facebook page has a link to the school homepage. Unfortunately, this link directs us to the Richmond Community Schools in Indiana. I'd like to request that whoever has administrative access to the Richmond Community Schools Facebook page, please hop in and update the hyperlink to the school website on there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Christina Turchi. I am a Richmond Community Schools graduate, and I am also the parent to a fourth grader in the Richmond Community Schools. I'm here once again to speak to the board about Mr. Walmsley's handling of the situation that involved my daughter. Last meeting, I requested that the board do an in-depth investigation into the handling of this situation. Has that been done? If not, I have here many policies that have been violated. To start, the most disgusting violation would be releasing my 9-year-old daughter's information and written statement to the police department. This violation is under policy 5201, investigations, arrests, and other law enforcement contact, which states the building principal or designee will make reasonable attempts to contact a student's parent or guardian before the student is questioned. I never received a single phone call from anybody about my daughter being interrogated, let alone that she is now a witness in a police report. Along with that policy, another one violated is policy 4601, general, for the superintendent employment. It states, the superintendent will regularly advise the board on significant legal, education, financial, and other school-related developments affecting the district and the board. When I spoke about everything involved with the incident that my daughter was a witness to, every single member here seemed quite shocked about it all. I was even told in an email from Ms. Michon that she was not aware of all the circumstances that I spoke about. Still under the same policy, it states, the superintendent must ensure compliance with student disciplinary standards and procedures. Once again, violated that policy in connection with the violation of policy 5201, which I already spoke about. The next policy that was violated is policy 4204, confidentiality of the student information. It states, employees must maintain and protect the confidentiality of student information and records and recognize that parents and guardians' rights to the student information about their minor child. Employees must not disclose to third parties confidential information or records unless appropriately authorized. Disclosure is appropriately authorized with a written release from the parent or guardian. So unless Mr. Walmsley is all of a sudden my daughter's guardian, he violated the entire policy by having my daughter interrogated 2 days in a row, having her handwrite a statement, and then handing that statement over to the police without ever contacting me. The next policy violation, which is policy 4201, in regards to employee ethics and standards. Last meeting, Ms. Telto claimed Mr. Walmsley should have received a higher rating on his evaluation in regards to ethics, but in my opinion and with my research, she is extremely mistaken. The policy states, employees must exercise objectively sound and with professional judgment when engaging with students, parents or guardians, colleagues, administrators, board members, and community members. Employees must completely and appropriately perform duties and responsibilities for which the employee is trained or assigned.
Christy, I'm sorry, your 3 minutes are up.
I grant Ms. Turchi my 3 minutes.
You'll need to come up and sign, please.
So, employees must competently and appropriately perform duties and responsibilities for which the employee is trained or assigned. Employees must maintain confidential information, including student, medical personnel, financial, and security information as protected by statute. Must professionally communicate with students, parents, and guardians, colleagues, board members, and community members, including through electronic means. The policy states that inappropriately discussing with a student about students' personal issues or problems that should normally be discussed with a parent or guardian or counselor unless the employee is the student's family member is unprofessional conduct, subjecting the employee to discipline, including discharge. Like I have stated before, not a single form of communication from Mr. Walmsley in regards to anyone speaking to my daughter, which means no permission to question her, no permission to make her write a statement, or for him to hand it over to the police department. So the last policy I will inform you on is Policy 4606, Superintendent Discipline and Termination. It states, the board may discipline or discharge the superintendent in conformance with the procedures and standards set forth in the superintendent's individual employment contract with the board, where there is reason to believe that the superintendent has engaged in conduct, performance, or behavior that warrants discipline. The president has the authority to place that superintendent on paid administrative leave after consultation with legal counsel and pending investigation and further board action. If the president receives a complaint against the superintendent, that warrants review at a board meeting. The board may convene an open session or closed session at the superintendent's request to consider the complaint. Evidence of sustained unprofessional conduct cannot be suppressed or removed from a personnel file constituent with revised school code section 1230B. So with that right there, I do believe that every violation I just spoke about warrants a full investigation into Mr. Walmsley that should result in termination. I am happy to sit with the board and discuss everything further, but I have given you every violation I have found so far, but I'm sure there are many more that you will find in the investigation. Please do not ignore his blatant disrespect to our district, me, and especially my daughter. Now you may say Mr. Walmsley isn't to blame here, but everything that has been done is in connection with my daughter was all ordered by Mr. Walmsley. He is the one that called all the shots, and I will not stand by and let him abuse his powers with my daughter, let alone any student in our district. Now on to my next thing. The parents of my daughter's classroom received a letter from the middle school principal stating that the substitute that was in their class for the last 2 months would be available to assist with the transition. But that was a lie. My daughter's new teacher started today, and it was only her in the classroom. If the district knew that Ms. DeLange was not going to be able to be available for our class, then another letter should have been sent out to every single parent in that class. With the most recent events within our school district, we have had 2 threats in our district within a week of each other. I was happy to see...
I'm sorry. Your 3 minutes are up again.
I only need 3 more, basically. Thank you.
Can you please state your name for the board, please?
Christy Jackson.
Thank you.
So with the most recent events with our school district, we have had 2 threats in our district within a week of each other. I was happy to see that the school took the first threat so seriously and closed all week, but that was also because our district was so short-staffed, which is unfortunate. I'm not happy with the communication of the district because we found out we would be closed through Friday from all news stations before our district even contacted us. The newest threat that was discovered last night should be treated the same way, but instead all of our students and staff were in class all day today, and parents were unaware of the threat that was discovered last night. So parents sent their children to school today with the potential of danger. Parents did not become aware of this threat until 3:30 p.m. after we all had our kids either on the bus to come home or we picked them up. Every threat needs to be considered serious and should close the district for at least that day to keep every single person safe. Whether the person that threat was made against was in the school today or not, no one is safe. Anything can happen to anyone at any time, just like it did that tragic day just over a year ago in Oxford. You never know when something will happen. Take every single threat to be credible until proven that it is not.
How are you guys? So good evening to the entire board, superintendent. My name is Christina Bass. I am the mother of 2 young ladies that attend the middle school here. I am one of the parents that kept my child, my children, my daughter, our daughters home today. My day-to-day profession is a firearms instructor, as well as a training counselor to 52 active firearms instructors across the state. The bulk of my job is not firearms training itself. It is my job to understand human violence, the process that it follows, to know its indicators, to go around to businesses and churches and homes and help everyday citizens to prevent, recognize, and handle things that may go sideways. I've spent countless nights at my kitchen table until 2, 3 in the morning learning these behaviors, how to identify them, all of the indicators that come with them through reputable sources such as Force Science Institute and many others. I've trained with the best of the best in this country. I have traveled across the country to gain my knowledge on the behaviors of people who commit violence. My warning bells are screaming. As I have followed events going back to the student walkout, it is clear to me that emotions are high everywhere. In every corner of these events, teachers, parents, staff, students, board members, violence, and make no mistake about this is violence. It is not at our doorstep. It is inside of our home. And it is escalating. I came here tonight as a voice for my children, for our children, to offer ideas and seek a resolution. Our kids are scared. We are scared. I have 3 questions for you tonight. Why risk sending our kids, our teachers, our administrators, our police officers into a building when there is so much unknown? Why risk that this may be a person with a classroom full of children who is escalating, as we saw based on Sunday night, that we found out 4 o'clock this afternoon, by the way? Why are we risking our lives? Would our resources not be better off pooled together collectively with a solid focus of bringing a violent individual to justice and allowing our teachers and children the room to breathe and mentally process the events of the last week? Number 2, have you contacted our State Attorney General, Dana Nessel, and asked for the support of the Michigan State Police to move this along? If so, what was her response? Have you contacted our governor, Gretchen Whitmer, and asked for resources and an unpenalized extension of time off for our students and staff? If so, what was her response? We have a right to know. In light of all the state has suffered regarding school violence, especially this past year, I would think they would work quickly to resolve some of the burden and to help us all come to a quicker resolution. Number 3, is there available counseling to support the staff and children who are experiencing a huge trauma that no family and no staff member, no child should ever have to experience? How do we find this? Where is it at? Is it available? Is it posted somewhere? Leadership is not an easy burden to bear. My final request here today is that leadership take a moment to breathe and communicate better with us parents. We look to you. We are in the dark and we trust in you. We believe in you. We have faith in you. We elect you to this board. We need you to communicate with us. Before I left home tonight, my oldest daughter, an 8th grader, beautiful, smart, amazing, Dinger brought me to my knees. She came to me as I was getting ready and handed me a stone on a chain. She told me the stone is often worn to aid communication. Through all of my fear and worry, I have communicated here tonight with the best emotional intelligence I can possibly muster, with the clearest focus that I can possibly bring up. My time with this stone is done, and I feel like she would be happy if I pass this off tonight to help aid in being a leader in communication moving forward.
Excuse me. I'm sorry, your 3 minutes.
That's cool.
Do you need more time?
No, I'm good. I literally only had one more sentence, please. Communication.
My name is Amanda Spears. I'm a mother of 10. 5 of my kids go to your district. We live in Port Huron. We are a school of choice. I am truly disappointed with the entire situation at hand. I moved my children to your district because I heard so many wonderful things about this district. I moved them here for stability and safety. I moved them here so they could receive the help that they needed. I moved them here so that they could be included and be part of a community. I wanted to be involved, to help at events, and anywhere really that help was needed, to the extent that I even applied for jobs within the district. I am the parent that is involved in everything my kids do. I am the parent that their kids talk to about everything. I am the parent that tells their kids exactly what is going on and lets them make decisions for themselves. The threat last week was tragic. I'm glad the schools were closed and the district cooperated. But what happened? What changed in the last week? The threatened party left the district, but the perpetrator is still walking the halls among our children. How can we feel any security in that? How do we make our kids feel safe knowing someone with access to the offices made that sort of threat? As I said, I tell my kids that the world is not full of rainbows and unicorns. They know there was a serious threat in their building. They are scared and they do not want to come back. They all stayed home today, which they will continue to do until they feel safe again. And now as I'm sitting at the table writing this and trying to gather my thoughts for the meeting, I get an email at 3:30 in the afternoon telling us there was another threat that you knew about yesterday. How is it that okay to withhold the information from the parents and expect us to continue to trust you with our children? The parents should have been notified immediately last night so they could make the best decision possible for their own family. The lack of communication and transparency here is absolutely appalling. All of that aside, one of the other reasons we came here was for stability. I have a child that has been struggling the last 2 years due to the back and forth between a virtual classroom with no teacher and in-person mess and quarantines, and guess what? She is on her 3rd math teacher this year. And no surprise, but she's failing. That is not her fault. That is on your fault. You are failing her. That is on this district for failing her, not providing proper instruction to the students. You can blame teacher shortages all you want, but why are the teachers leaving this district? They would not be looking at jobs elsewhere if they were happy here. What is going on that is making them all leave? Safety is definitely in question at this point, as is stability. So can someone please tell me why I should keep my children here on your sinking ship?
My name's Ashley. I have 2 daughters in middle school right now.
I'm sorry, Ashley, could I hear your last name?
Rogowski, sorry. I have 2 daughters in the middle school right now. I usually don't come to these meetings. I usually just watch them on YouTube. And usually what I see from YouTube, Mr. Walmsley, is you so nonchalantly reading off these lists of transfers and resignations, and then you just so calmly move on to the next subject while my heart's beating out of my chest. I am so afraid that if something doesn't happen, the school's going to end up shutting down, and I have no idea where I'm going to do next. I have no idea. I don't think anyone really knows what there is to do next. I do not consider it a win when you say that someone is hired in the office staff. They're not in this classroom with my kids. I'm also a part of the classroom where Miss McNichols was let go. I know there was a huge problem child issue in that class, which has completely robbed my kid. And now we had Miss DeLange, which I'm very thankful for, but that was temporary. And now we have a new teacher. Will that be temporary? I don't know. From the looks of this district, probably. I was looking on the Channel 4 news, which is humiliating that there's news crew here. Humiliating. I was looking and I clicked on the Richmond School District tab and it brought up January 2020. We were also on the news. That's humiliating as well. Nothing is improving since that news report, and I didn't even know because I'm fairly new to this district. I came from Dearborn, Michigan. I was told looking for houses that Richmond was a very profound school district. Everyone's wanting in, and I have no idea what anyone's talking about. I'm incredibly let down. Incredibly let down. There's many people commenting on social media, as Ms. Jarrett mentioned. Not all of it's false. I'm sure a lot of it's opinionated. Something has to be done. We have our own special tab on Local 4 if anyone wants to check it out, which is also humiliating. I'm just really a concerned parent because I ripped my kids out of their school district with their friends and their family, and I brought them here, and it's nothing but problems, and it's just, I just don't know what to do at this point. So I'm truly trusting all of you and expecting just good morals from everyone to just do what's right and move forward for this district.
Reverend Kim Newport. My public comment tonight is primarily directed to Mr. Walmsley. I have witnessed in these board meetings and on social media comments concerning you, your job performance, and your character that are filled with gossip, lies, malice, and a lack of understanding. I know what it feels like to be a target, and one of my main goals in this life is to try to ensure others do not feel as alone as I have at times. Mr. Walmsley, you are not alone. There are people in this community who value you and trust your decisions. Unfortunately, we aren't as loud or vocal as others. Yes, there is a teacher shortage in 48 out of 50 states. That is not a reflection of you. Yes, Richmond is one of the lowest paying districts. You are not the person who makes financial decisions. Again, not a reflection of you. Yes, there are clearly threats happening in this district, but you are not a police officer or a detective, So there's only so much you can do and only so much information you can give during an ongoing investigation. Again, not a reflection of you. For those who are religious, we are told not to let any slander or gossip leave our mouths, but instead to lift others up. Yes, it is also our duty to call out hate and oppressive acts, but it is to be done in a spirit of gentleness. This week, you asked the community to take time for self-reflection. I found that to be wise, and I appreciate being reminded to look inside of myself first. In fact, it was self-reflecting that made me decide to come here tonight to tell you I am sorry for the way that you have been treated. To the rest of the Board of Education, I call on you as elected officials to refrain from engaging in activities that do anything less than create productive conversation and unity. You are here to be guides for education. May peace and wisdom rest on each of you moving forward.
Thank you. No other public comments? Okay, we will move on. Thank you, everyone. Okay, Mr. Walmsley, we need superintendent and legislative update.
Thank you, President Basham. I'll start off with, before we get into the major topic for tonight, some updates. There are no legislative or county updates to report. Some activities going on as reported by Mr. Manguni at Lee Elementary School. They have begun NWA testing, and they look forward to using the data to inform their instruction. It's reported that second grade won the monthly attendance award that we talked about at a previous board meeting. And their focus coming up in February is a kindness month, so stay tuned for what they're going to be bringing. Ms. Barella reports that on January 10th is their Shine Day. All middle school students will be dressing and wearing their Richmond Pride. On January 11th at 7 o'clock is the middle school concert in the middle school cafeteria. And then they'll have Spirit Day, which is wear your favorite scarf on January 13th. Mrs. Zabo reports, congratulations to the high school students who competed at We the People this past Friday up in Lansing. They took third place. I'd also like to thank or congratulate Dr. Ladd in his work with the students and their accomplishments. High school is also beginning NWA testing this week and will continue throughout, depending on hours the students are taking it through February 10th. And just a reminder, exams are on January 18th, 19th, and 20th. So I'd like to talk a little bit about the situation that occurred, and some of my comments I think will address some of the parents' concerns that were brought up. Over the break, we, as has been reported in several of the board meetings previously, we have had teachers choosing to leave our district. And each one of those staff members that leave, I provide this board with their resignation letter and any information they provide the district on their reasons. In my reflection on looking at these resignation letters, oftentimes it speaks to professional advancement or opportunities, especially those that want to go into possibly administration and the ability in larger districts to accommodate that. But there are also comments that it's a better situation for their family from a financial perspective. Mrs. Jar is right. We are not the highest paid district in the state. We have made progress and it has been very collaborative to get us to where we are. However, one of the challenges I have as superintendent is when I have staff members that elect or want to leave for financial purposes, I have no ability to retain them. And I want to repeat that. I have no ability to retain them. We have a signed contract. I have teachers that I can put anywhere on that matrix, and this matrix is on the website, when I hire them in. And there are oftentimes I bring teachers in at a higher step than current teachers, which creates in and of itself problems in our organization. For example, a social worker that we hired left the district for what I reported to be more money, approximately about $8,000 to $10,000, I'm told. The one that we are currently negotiating will cost the district about $20,000 more. If I had the ability to offer this person more money, you most certainly would believe that I would offer it. We have dedicated staffs for our district. They're committed to our students, but I do not have that ability because I have to follow collective bargaining agreements. It's the same argument when we had secretaries. We fought to get the secretarial rate up to be at least be competitive with our neighbors and what the industry pays. Prior to this board meeting, I believe it was in November, might have been even in October, I'm drawing a blank. This board took the position that no position in this organization would be paid less than $15 an hour. We are, in some cases, the highest paying bus driver rates and support staff. But again, all rates are negotiated. We sit at the table, it's both sides. So for staff members that are choosing to leave, and I don't blame any of them because it's a financial benefit, in these times with inflation at 8, 9, 10%, it is critical that they're making ends meet. Our average increase for our hourly workers is about 3% in contract language. So during this time, my staff, my administrative team and I have been working very diligently trying to fill any vacancies that we are told. Over the holiday break, it was very challenging. Various schedules of individuals who might have left for the holiday, their availability. Mr. Thiel, our HR director, was in during the holidays processing new hires. But it came to a point right before the New Year's time when I had a conversation with my administrative team about wanting to make sure we were ready when students came back. I made the decision on January 2nd to close the district for January 3rd with the intent it would give our new hires, which would have been their first day back, the shuffling of teachers who were moving to long-term positions, an opportunity to get ready for the new year. Never did I expect that a 7:30 call from Ms. Morella regarding an anti-Semitic threat to one of our administrators would ever, in my career, be the focus of my day on January 3rd. It is always my hope and my desire to make sure that the parents have information as quickly as I can get it out. Things evolve and change in the last week and a half, what seems to be hourly. What started off as my letter at 8 o'clock this morning to send out to parents evolved and changed based on information I received in talking with the chief of police and the staff member directly involved in the latest threat, getting that information out. I've taken several calls over the past week from parents not satisfied with the communication, and as I will tell this board, we can always improve. We can always do better. I've taken calls with criticizing that the news media received it before parents. The perspective that this parent brought, I have reflected on and thought about. When we close school, there are 4 avenues that we notify parents, with the hope that one of those avenues will get to the parent as quickly as possible. We contact the media, and for those who don't know the process, I log into a website, I enter a 4-digit code, I choose Richmond schools, I choose what day we're closing, and I hit submit. It notifies channel 2, 4, 7, it notifies radio stations all in one. It's a service that all districts in Macomb County child care providers have. The second avenue is through Facebook. Many of our parents are on Facebook, but yet there are families that are not on Facebook. Our third avenue is the website, because believe it or not, we have parents that their first option is to go visit our website before they look at anything else. And then the fourth is communication to school messenger. And in that school messenger, I have the option of doing a telephone call where I can do a voice recording or a computer-generated voice that says there's an important message. I can send an email communication, or I can send text messages. In one of those 4 ways, we hope that we're hitting every parent household. But you have to remember when you're implementing this communication plan, one thing is going to start before the other, and it's not always in the same order. In the case that the parent spoke about, the news finding out, that is correct. I notified the news media on the website, and in the process of following the next step, things came up in the day that I had to address immediately, particularly the investigation. But ultimately, all areas were sent out. I have answered calls from parents all week regarding I didn't receive any notification. When the notifications are done, I receive a report that says what phone numbers were called by student, what emails were counted, whether the phone was sent to voicemail, whether it was sent to a voicemail, whether it was sent to received in an email box, which I often have to have parents look in their spam because for whatever reason the settings are not allowing the emails to go through, but we've worked through them. When the situation happened on the 3rd, my first priority was to make sure everybody was safe. In my almost 30 years of education, I have never experienced a threat so disgusting as the one that was left in our school. My first communication that was dated January 3rd gave very simplistic, beginning, general information, because at the time I was working with the Richmond Police Department trying to figure out what happened. How did that note get into our building? Shortly after that, Chief Costello issued a press release where he actually defined it as an anti-Semitic threat. My second communication, again, all of these after consulting with the police department or representatives from the police department to make sure I do not jeopardize any of their investigation. If you read what I have provided parents, it was in a secure area. It was under an area that you had to be buzzed in. It was in an area that was under surveillance cameras. You would think this would be a cut and dry case. You watch the video and see who went in that room. But if you ever step back and looked at the video cameras in a school system, there are dozens and dozens of people that walk in and out of an office every single day. Every single one of those people is considered a suspect. At this point, I can say that the Richmond Police, in the process, have contacted the state police to get them involved. They have sent our information off to the crime lab, and the state police are involved in both investigations. I say this not to be to pat anybody on the back, because this is a very serious matter. I deliberated tremendously, and I sought counsel from my team. I sought counsel from Mrs. Jar regarding the first day back and what we needed to prepare teachers. I sought counsel from the police chief. Ultimately, yes, it is my decision. You delegate that authority to me as a superintendent to decide to open or close schools. It's no secret at this point, I don't know if it's in my current letter, but there was a specific date listed on the January 3rd threat. It would have been traumatic for all of us, just taking the side of what am I going to do with my children if school's closed, if I were to open school, close school on the date, and open it back up in that week. I made the decision to keep it out. I made the decision to cancel athletics in-house. I made the decision to cancel sports, though I have some parents who are saying that there are sports teams that practice, and I am looking into those to make sure that they did not violate what was asked of them. We inconvenience, just from the what am I doing with my children, a lot of people. But I can go to bed at night saying it was for their safety. Last night, after I sent out the letter saying we're back open, I had a conversation with the police chief. Over the weekend, I worked with him on securing officers to be in our building. I want to say this to everybody. Nothing is 100%. I wish I could sit up here and guarantee that every child, nothing would ever happen to them. I wish I could say to the teachers and support staff, nothing's going to happen to you here. We can do everything we can to minimize it, reduce it, try to prevent it. But if someone is that deranged to do something, they're going to find a way to do it. And our security measures are just going to slow them down to save people. I don't know any other superintendent that would be that vocal and say that publicly. Because what you probably want me to say is your students are safe here. And we're doing our best to make sure they're safe. The partnership we have with our police, we share information. They have access to our cameras, they have access to our building. They do drills in our building to make sure they know the layout of our building. They bring drug sniffing dogs into our building and practice. They know our buildings. If any new person is in the police force, they have opportunities to come here 24/7. But on Sunday night, right after I had sent the letter out that we were coming back to school and this is what we had put in place, I received an email that was forwarded to me. It was from a teacher, staff member. I said too much already, I apologize. A staff member who received this email. Immediately the police were called. I happened to be in the office that night sending things out. The police came up to this school. We gave them everything they needed. We gave them the letter, we gave them the email, we had them walk down, they looked at the building, they looked at the room, they did a surveillance sweep. Again, it's trying to figure out what this is all about. The letter that we received on Sunday was very different in the way it was written than the letter we received that was actually hand-delivered. That night, I had a conversation with the chief of police about 9 o'clock that night. We both talked and discussed, and I was very poignant in asking, do I need to shut school down? Now, his is a recommendation, just as before, and there was some criticisms on the releasing kids earlier on a situation several weeks ago, months ago probably at this point. There was never any hesitation that we did not need to close. We could stay open. In order for me to get parents information, I had to spend today finding out more information about this. The police had not yet talked to the staff member involved other than preliminary last night. They had a conversation with the staff member over the phone. Today there was further conversation with them. The investigation of doing a trace of where this email came from has been done, just as the other previous communications has. So I guess my point here is, can we improve on communication? Absolutely. But I believe with my heart of hearts that our 100%, if staff or students was in danger, we would not have been open. I relied on the experts who know the industry, who work in the industry, to provide me guidance. Ultimately, yes, it is my decision. I stand by that decision. Several parents have called me regarding my statement that I read that asked for the silent majority, and it wasn't a message to call to arms. It was, we need to work together. Last week, while my administrative team was in the building, I was criticized for having people in the building at all during this crisis. We took every precaution we could think of in minimizing and reducing risk to individuals. Sadly, some of those precautions were posted on the social media that were meant strictly for internal communication. It identified who was going to be in the building. It identified what doors were going to be open. It identified the procedures and protocol, just to name a few. Whoever did it, I would ask you to reflect on what you did, whether it was just to get information out there because you had it, but you put people's lives in jeopardy. Because we had a plan going, and I met with each building, I met with each staff member that day to reduce any anxiety they have. We have a district that we still have to run even outside of the time when schools are in session, or students are in session, excuse me. Last week was probably the most trying week on my administrative team I have ever witnessed. They came wholeheartedly into the building to help begin planning and problem solving what we were doing. I would like to read to you a letter I received from the administrative team today that is addressed to the Richmond community. I have a copy for each of the board members. For those of you who know, my administrative team consists of not only the building administrators, but it's also the Director of Student Support Services, as well as the Director of Athletics, Facilities, and School Safety. It says, a letter to the Richmond community. We would like to begin by thanking the Richmond Community Schools Board of Education, Mr. Walmsley, for keeping students and staff safe as their #1 priority during this very difficult time. However, we are very concerned about the conduct of many. On Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023, a member of our team and their family received an anti-Semitic death threat, which is currently under investigation by the Richmond Police Department. This intolerance and hatred must stop. For us to thrive as a school district and community, we must demonstrate the desire to work together and to support one another despite any differences or perceived differences. Events that have led up to and including this terrible activity promote divisiveness and dissension. We are grateful for the unwavering support of many. The lack of empathy demonstrated by some during this incident is disheartening. We come to work every day with the intention of supporting our students, staff, and our community. An administrator and their family were personally threatened. Thoughtless and ill-informed comments made through social media and news outlets about this action diminished the severity and the seriousness of the situation. The only course of action that should have been is one that is supportive and respectful. We ask for your support and we endeavor to maintain a safe environment while providing quality education for our students. We also ask you, members of the community, for your help in changing the current narrative that is further dividing our district. It is imperative that members in our community accept others regardless of their race, religion, culture, nationality, sexual identity, or gender. We enjoy being part of this community and are fully committed to Richmond Community Schools. Thank you for your support. Respectfully, the Richmond Administrator Association, Andrea Zabo, Becky Borwick, Jennifer Morella, Preston Tren, Dawn McCarr, Heidi Manguni, and Mike Gibson. Many of them wanted to come speak tonight. In fact, I think one of them made the comment, I'm probably going to get fired if I come up to the podium and really say what I feel. These teachers, or these administrators, are teachers. I have never met a district that is so devoted to the safety and security of our students and want the best for our students. There are areas that we need to improve in, absolutely. But we need to work together in finding those solutions, and I look forward to continuing to work with the community as we move forward through this situation and the future ones that will occur. With that, I have no other.
Thank you. Okay, items of interest from the board. Candace, we'll start with you.
I just kind of want to ask everybody to have patience and, try to support one another. Everybody obviously has been affected one way or another. And, we'll all get through this together if we really act like a community instead of at odds with one another all the time. But so I just say prayers for all of us and get through it. And I think that we have to change the subject. We have a great year ahead of us with a lot of new board members, a couple new board members, and different ideas and thoughts. Yeah, we have different ideas and thoughts, and just looking forward to a positive year, rest of the year. So that's That's really it. for right now.
Okay, Margaret?
First, I wanted to say that I went up to Michigan State on Friday and attended the We the People competition that Dr. Ladd and his students were at. And what an overwhelming, amazing group of kids talking about government and the Constitution. And my youngest sister was with me, and she said, I feel like I need to go back and have Dr. Ladd to teach me more and learn more. But our kids were outstanding in their knowledge and their ability to sit on a team of 4 and maybe not necessarily have the same ideas or agree with what the other person on their team was saying. It was just outstanding. And kudos to Dr. Ladd. Every judge that walked into that room acknowledged him and acknowledged Richmond schools. And I think we had like 20 people, parents, family members, and several judges came in and said, oh my gosh, look at all these people Richmond has. And it was just amazing. So kudos to those kids and to Dr. Ladd. They really made us look good that day. And I see her, I see where she's sitting back there. I just want to commend Mrs. Jar for her comments tonight. That was not easy for her, I'm sure, to stand up. I'm going to say in all my years of being on the Board of Education, one of the truly most remarkable things for a union leadership person to do, and have not seen that in Richmond. And you're right, this is a great place. And when I hear people talk about we're failing, or great teachers are leaving and great people are leaving, but for goodness sake, we have great people still teaching, doing amazing kids with our kids in our programs, and people that we are hiring will turn out to be really good too. So let's try to keep that in mind when we make those kind of comments on social media and throughout this town, where we disparage the fact that somebody has left us. We have good people still here working darn hard every single day to educate your kids. So let's remember that. And with respect to the threat, it is truly sickening. I've lived here just about my whole entire life, and the fact that someone comes to work for us and was here maybe 7 or 8 days, and that's what they got. That was their welcome to Richmond. That to go after who they are, what they believe in, that was what welcomed Mr. Woodberg to Richmond. That makes me sick to my stomach. And we have to focus on that fact that we cannot be like that. We are better than that. We have to be. And I look out at people when you're sitting here and you're here speaking for your children or your grandchildren or nieces and nephews. You've got to remember, we've got to treat people better than that. You talk about if people leave us, who's going to want to come to Richmond schools when in 7 days their life and their small children, 2- and 4-year-old children, were threatened. Their lives were threatened. We got to be better than that. And as far as the communication, I just want to put out to our staff, there was communication that went out in an email from Mr. Walmsley, where sometimes we might get as board members a little email, text message blurb that something has happened, to keep us, to know that something's coming down the road. He sent us something, and it was an email that went to staff, which included administrators and Board of Education members. And it talked about what the plan was, and as Mr. Walmsley said, the people that were going to be in the building who, at possibly great peril to themselves, but to try to be able to be part of the crisis and help, and the times that they would be allowed in the building. Someone in that email group felt the need to put that out on social media. Shame on whoever did that. You put every single person that was coming in to try to help Mr. Walmsley and the police to investigate and try to figure out what was done. You put them in danger. And I just want staff members, I will sit here right at this table and tell you, it was not me. I would never, ever do that as a school board member or a human being. That's it.
Thank you. Kelly?
Well, not to beat a dead horse, I'm not going to repeat everything that Candace and Margaret just said, but I am pretty much echo the sentiment that came across from both of them. And I did want to express my thanks to you, Ms. Jar, as well. It took a lot of bravery, I feel like, to come up and address the board and the people here and really bring to light the current issues that are going on with social media. And that was kind of what I pondered on all day long, is my overwhelming disappointment in a lot of people that have been on social media and the comments that are made, when I know darn well the comments that they're making aren't even factual, and then it just snowballs and stuff like that. And it very, very disappointed. I really am. So I'm glad that you were able to come up and actually address that, so that I wasn't the only one bringing that point up. I have full confidence in the Richmond Police Department. Thank you so much for being here today and throughout the week to be with our students. My students did go to school today. They were more than thrilled to go back to school. Last week was like absolute torture on them. You know, and even being aware partly of what was going on with a possible other threat, I trust the police chief and the superintendent that they deemed the threat was not credible, and I had absolutely no issues bringing my children to school today. And I thank you for having the school open, because I wouldn't have lasted another day with them at home. That's all.
Thanks, Kelly. Sandy?
I'm not gonna just go, I agree so far with what everybody else has said, and I think I understand emotions are very high right now. I mean, of course, we're talking about our kids, they're our most precious things to us. So I mean, I understand that, but I think if everybody just realizes that they're very important to us too, as superintendent, as a board. I mean, I don't think that as a person, if I felt that kids or teachers or staff were going to be in danger, I don't know that I could keep my mouth shut and not get on somewhere and be like, hey, don't bring your kids to school today, just as a human being, But I mean, so obviously, I mean, safety is number one to me, and I think everybody else I can speak for everybody else on the board when I say that. That's it.
Thank you. Danielle?
Sorry. I wanted to address what the one gentleman said about the notifications and stuff too. I know it wasn't an isolated thing, because I had the same issue. I told my husband what was going on the second time a notice came out regarding being closed till Friday, and he's like, how did you know? I didn't get a phone call or a text message like I got on the 2nd for the 3rd for the building closure. So I know, I don't know if different options were selected or how it worked out, but I got all notifications and he only got ones for the very first day that we were closed. So I know we're all in the same record, Jackson's record. And then I also, kind of echoing everybody else, I know I was part of a conversation on Facebook last week on one of the pages regarding a lot of people asking questions about this, that, or the other. And I had made the comment on there that, well, if you have the question, I wasn't trying to be rude, and I wasn't sure if people were venting or if they were honestly curious, but asking other people on Facebook wasn't going to get you the answer, because Mr. Walmsley was the one that closed school. Why are we closed till Friday? Well, might want to go ask the person who did it. And so I wasn't trying to be rude or disrespectful, but it seemed goofy to me that they're asking each other when nobody made that decision but Mr. Walmsley. And actually, after I had made that comment, I sent Mr. Walmsley a list of 7 different questions that I had, and he responded to those and clarified them for me, because I don't want to tell somebody, yes, I have confidence that he closed till Friday, and I don't know why. And so I got my answers, and yes, I had confidence that we should be closed through Friday. So just simply, you may not get a response right away, but given the circumstances, but just ask him. And if you don't like the answer, then that's what the board meetings are for. That's your forum to have a response, or ask again if you haven't gotten a response by that time. But I know I think it was 7 or 8 questions that I sent to him and got a response to each one. So just ask the source. But that's all I have.
Thank you. Angela?
Yes, thank you. I just prepared a statement. I would like to say thank you to the Richmond Community School staff for continuing to put our students' safety a priority. Thank you to the Richmond Police Department for the continued efforts making Richmond Community Schools safe, and for their efforts towards finding who may have made this threat. I am saddened that this level of hate has presented itself in our district. I know this is not what we as Richmond Community Schools represent, and hope that we can learn from this experience. Please allow us board members some grace as we navigate through this difficult situation. All of us board members also have students and family members that work within the district, or students that go to the school. And it is our priority to keep everybody safe, and we are doing our best. And so please, just try to be patient, and we know everybody's been on easy, and we as a board are as well. So thank you for your patience.
I would agree with just about everything everybody has said on the board, and I won't rehash it. The only thing that I want to say is whoever did this, bottom line is you affected a lot of people. You affected our staff. You affected the kids, the programs, the things that we had going on that we had to switch and change. I don't understand how a person can be in this district and work here and do that, because the kids are what we're all about. That's why we're here. That's what this is all about. So whoever did this, I just don't understand how you can do this against our students. I pray that we find this person and we find out, because I don't believe this person represents our community or our district. We have some good people here. We have a lot of good people. I worked in this district for 18 years. I stayed here, and I'm back here on the board because I believe in what we do here. I believe in our staff. I believe in our administration. So please, again, as requested, give us some patience. I have never been through anything like this. I'm not sure that any of us have. And give us some patience that we can get through this. And please watch your comments. That's all I ask. Ask the source. Go find out. Call me. Put an email out if you have some questions. Please stay off the Facebook. Thank you. Okay, at this time we have action items. I need a motion for the approval of amendment to the school bus purchase.
I move to accept the recommendation of the superintendent and amend the approval to purchase one school bus from Midwest Transit for a total not to exceed $117,300 as outlined in the attached documentation, for which funding transferred from the fiscal year 2023 general fund to the non-bond capital projects fund is authorized.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Danielle?
Yeah.
Thank you. Any discussion? Okay, this is going to be a roll call vote. Margaret?
Aye.
Danielle?
Aye.
Angela? Aye. Kelly?
Aye.
Candace? Aye. Sandy?
Aye.
Deb? Aye. Motion carries. Okay, we have another motion I need a motion for the approval of the Hatch program technology for our early learning child care center.
I I move to accept the recommendation of the superintendent and approval to purchase Hatch Early Learning computers and software for a total not to exceed $30,279.76, as outlined in the attached documentation, for which funding from the fiscal year 2023 general fund is authorized.
Do I have support? Support. Thank you. Any discussion?
I have discussion.
Okay.
I just wanted, I did look into this program a little bit, and I'm looking for my notes now. My biggest question was who collects this data and who has access to it, and I went all over their website and was really unable to find any good, solid information. At one point, it does say that it does not disclose information to third parties other than vendors who assist us with our website and who are under strict confidentiality requirements. And then it further says that it does collect PPI, which is personal identifiable information. So when you're talking about preschool students, it's collecting name, date of birth, gender, ethnicity, disability, which is talking about IEPs, individual education plans, and or IFSPs, individual family service plans, their picture, student ID, and parent-teacher information. And then it continues to say that it uses this information to customize the content for what we think you may like or based on your usage patterns. I'm all for helping the kids with early literacy, which is kind of what this program is. But I still have a lot of questions on what information is being collected on our youngest children and what databases it's being put into. I know my kids are pretty much past that point, and whatever information is out there, they have it. But I kind of am very leery for our youngest and most vulnerable members, and what information and what kind of files are being created regarding them that are formed in preschool and are really going to follow them through their entire life. So for that reason, I'm going to not vote for it.
Okay. Any other one? Any other?
I also had some concerns about this. I wasn't at the meeting, to ask the questions that I would have had. I know I probably could have emailed them too. I still have, concerns over the data, the facial recognition for the children that enter into the program. If there's ways that they can get into it without the facial recognition aspect of it, and I understand that they're really collecting data towards the social emotional learning aspect. Is this coming, you said that it was coming out of, is it coming out of our ESSER fund, or is it coming out of the general fund? You mentioned general fund.
The ESSER funds are in our general fund. They're a revenue source that we have as a district. And then from that, we allocate and dedicate to the line item those expenses.
Coming from GSRP, our Brain Start Learning program, and it's split funded from that, and then the rest is just general fund dollars. So it's split funded from two sources.
But even GSRP, it's a line item in our general fund. There's a revenue in, and then there's expense items for that. So many of the grants we receive are they're all in our general fund.
So is this data being used towards their next level, if it's a third grade or a third 3-year-old program, does it carry over into the 4th grade programs? How's that teacher?
The data is used for the teacher in the classroom to provide the instruction based on where the kids are at, and for those to be able to customize it. We don't send this data to any state institution. We don't send this data to any third-party source other than our staff.
Do we move it up to the next grade? Would it be sent with them to kindergarten, 1st grade, like that? I think that's what Candace is trying to ask you. Will it carry on the information?
For kindergarten readiness for the teachers to look at, and then they would transition to NWBA testing to see how they align to the kindergarten state standards. The HATS program is specifically specifically aligned to the preschool gold star standards that they are required to have. And it's not face recognition, it's a picture, so the kids, because they're not going to be able to perhaps know what their names is spelled like. So their picture is this up, just like in our Power School database, you would click on their picture, and then it goes into that play, so that then it goes to the next lesson, just like any other IXL, Mogi Max, or anything else, that supplemental curricular things we use throughout the school. And we internally host that data, and we use it to inform our instruction. We don't send it off to any other third party.
So it's not moving along. It's staying right within our preschool information.
It goes, yes, our gold standard, that's their standard.
It's not collecting any information towards maybe knowing that that child might be better off with an IEP or
No, our
nothing like
process
that.
for IEP is our student study team, which is just like any other student in our district. Give those kind of things. It can show that if there might be a learning delay, but what it can do is then prompt us to have that student study team sit down with all the players, determine all sourcing pieces of evidence, but then determine if another program is more appropriate.
It might be data when they enter into kindergarten that's used up to they need Title I intervention, because maybe they're farther behind than other students, or Title 31A interventions. Might be data that if we have for students that are struggling, targeting them for summer program options for families if they want to attend summer school.
But then that information gets if they were to apply for that as the parent, then that information.
That information is, I didn't hear the.
For the IEP, if then it's a collective, the parent gets to be a part of anything before.
For an IEP, absolutely, the
Or
parent has to
any
be part
of
of it.
the other things that might trigger. I don't know if there's any other red flags within the program that, no.
One piece of evidence, we might also look at observations. We might also have different pieces of evidence that the teacher has done as well. And all of that is collected to then sit with the child study team to make that kind of decision if the parent is involved in that process.
Mrs. Staples, can I ask, is the Hatch program the same as you would say our IXL program that we've been running for years as far as the data collecting and the way the student would interface with it?
It's adaptable very similarly, so that when students go in, it adjusts where they are, and it progresses their learning at where they are in that play or that math or that English or that speech. But yes, it's that kind of like online adaptable program, and like I said, it's only about 5 to 10 minutes. So there's a lot of other instruction that goes on, as well as other pieces of information that go along to kind of collect that snapshot of the kindergarten readiness for our preschoolers.
Thank you.
Any other discussion from the board or any other questions? I'll second that. Who seconded it, please?
I think I
missed it. Thanks, Danielle. Okay, being no other discussion, this is a roll call vote. Margaret?
Aye.
Danielle?
Aye.
Angela?
Aye.
Kelly?
Nay.
Candace?
Nay.
Sandra?
Aye.
Deb? Aye. Motion carries. Okay, at this time, I'm looking for a motion to go into closed session.
Pursuant to Section 8H of the Michigan Open Meetings Act, I move that the Board of Education go into closed session to consider material exempt from discussion or disclosure by state or federal statute.
Support.
Thank you. This will be a roll call vote.
Got to ask if there's discussion first.
I'm sorry, thank you. Is there any discussion? Okay, this will be a roll call vote. Danielle?
Aye.
Margaret?
Aye.
Angela?
Aye.
Kelly?
Aye.
Candace?
Aye.
Sandy?
Aye.
Deb, aye. Motion carries. Just for the public to know, we have no other business. When we return, we will just be adjourned.